Hey guys, welcome back to Builds by Maz. Today I'll be showing you how you can replace your torn or damaged window screen in just 5 minutes with a few simple tools to make it look brand new. Let's get started. To remove your window screen, you just need to lift up on the pull tabs at either end and then push slightly outwards. This will release the screen and you can pull it in through the open window. This is everything you need for the screen replacement, and I'll put links to all these items in the description below. First, you need some replacement fiberglass screen, which comes in a roll like this. You'll also need a sharp razor blade, a small flathead screwdriver, a spline rolling tool, and I'll give some more detail on that later, and lastly, you may need some additional spline. Looking at the back of the window screen, you can see that the mesh is held in place by this black vinyl cording, which is called a screen spline. Look for where the spline ends, which should be in one of the corners. Then you can use your flathead screwdriver to pry it out. From there, it's pretty easy to just pull off. Go ahead and remove the spline from the entire window. If it's still in good shape, you can actually reuse it. You just want to check that it's still flexible and undamaged. If it's become brittle or has cracks in it, then it's time to replace it, but this one is still in good shape. If you need to replace your spline, make sure to measure the diameter of the old one so you can get the correct size. This one here is 1/8 of an inch, but splines come in a variety of sizes. You can see here it lists the 0.125 inches as the size. 0.14 and 0.16 inches are also very common. It comes in a big bundle which you can use for multiple windows. With the spline removed, you can pull up the old mesh screening. Be sure to hang on to these pull tabs, which may come out when you remove the screen. Take your new fiberglass screen material and roll it out over the screen frame. You want to leave about a 1.5 to 2 inch border on every edge to give yourself a little bit of margin. Then just use your razor blade to cut off the material needed. We can now look in more detail at the spline tool. Many of these come with double rollers, one on each end. This side has a convex edge, which is only used for installing metal screens, so we don't need that. We're going to use this concave edge, which you can see has a little groove running down the middle. This will fit right over the spline and help push it into place. This is the only side you'll need to use with standard fiberglass screen installations. Start by lining up the spline on one of the corners of the window screen and push it into the groove with your flathead screwdriver. Once the corner is secured, you can use your spline roller to continue pushing the spline into the groove along the edge of the screen. Use firm pressure while doing this, making sure you're pushing all the way down to ensure a tight, secure fit. Once you get to the end of an edge, you can bend the spline 90 degrees and push the corner in with your screwdriver. Then you can just continue rolling the spline in along this next edge. I like to use one hand to guide the spline along the window groove and the other hand to roll it into place. You can then repeat that process for the third edge. With 3 sides in place, you want to make sure that the mesh screen is flat and tight. What you don't want are any ripples or bends, which would make it look a little something like this. If this happens to you, you can just remove and re-roll the spline, making sure the screen is flat while you're doing so. When rolling the spline on the bottom edge, there are a couple additional steps because we need to reinstall these pull tabs. I usually measure about 4 inches from the edge, and that's where the end of the pull tab will start. This is the direction you want it, with the short side on the bottom and the long side on the top. Slide the pull tab behind the screen into the groove to your 4-inch mark. Using your screwdriver, you can push the spline into the screen groove underneath the pull tab, which will tighten it into place. You can give it a little roll with your spline tool before continuing on this bottom edge. Leave some room at the end so you can slide your second pull tab into place. keeping it the same distance from the screen edge. Again, I use 4 inches, but you can do more or less than this if you want to. Jam the spline in to lock this tab into place, and then you can roll out the remainder of the spline. I messed up recording here, but any excess you can just trim off with a razor blade. So here's our window with the screen fully attached, and now we need to remove the excess. Just use the razor blade and cut close to the spline, and it should easily remove. Be careful when you're doing this, because if you accidentally cut a hole in your main window screen, you'll have to redo this whole process. With all the excess removed, our screen is now ready to be reinstalled. Most screens will have these metal tension springs on top, which is what holds the screen in place. Put your screen through the open window and then line up the top tension springs first. Use the pull tabs to pull the screen up and in, and it should sit right into place. And that's all there is to it. This window screen looks basically invisible unless you get right up close to it, which is how window screens should look, free of damage, holes, or rips. Now you can replace your own window screen in just about 5 minutes. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to see more DIY and home improvement videos.